Bungie has just responded to being exposed for stealing art to create Marathon, allegedly, and their defense has more holes in it than the Hellmouth on the moon. All right, we're going to jump into the whole thing here. If you don't know, let's catch you up to speed if you haven't seen this. This is now top trending on Twitter. Okay, this artist, a small artist, says the Marathon Alpha released recently and its environment are covered with assets lifted from posters I made in 2017. 2.7 million views at the time I'm recording this video. When I wake up tomorrow, this thing's going to be at like 10 million views. Okay, 26,000 likes. This is crazy. Top trending. So now, the official Marathon dev team has responded. This is what they said. We immediately investigated a concern regarding unauthorized use of artist decals in Marathon and confirmed that a former Bungie artist included these in a texture sheet that was ultimately used in-game. So they are deflecting the blame onto an artist that no longer works at the studio. There's some really big problems with that, and we'll get to that in just a moment. They then go on to say, this issue was unknown by our existing art team, kind of fishy, you'll see in a second, and we are still reviewing how this oversight occurred. We take matters like this very seriously, as you should. We have reached out to the artist to discuss the issue and are committed to do right by the artist. As a matter of policy, we do not use the work of artists without their permission, okay? And to prevent similar issues in the future, we are conducting a thorough review of our in-game assets, specifically those done by the former Bungie artist, and implementing stricter checks to document all artist contributions. So they're doubling down on this. They're trying to make sure that nothing else was stolen. Like I said, we'll cover some pretty interesting bits here. I have a post that's responding to this that is #1 trending as a reply now. We value the creativity and dedication of all artists who contribute to our games, and we are committed to doing right by them. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Okay, right? The pandering is too great for me. Next, I respond right here saying, what about the current Marathon employees and art team that literally follow the artist on the app, right? So they're trying to deflect the blame onto a former artist that lifted these images, put them in the game, and then they got either laid off or fired at some point in time. They're no longer with the company, whatever it may be. Okay, your whole art team follows the artist that has been developing this art style for 10+ years, which is something that they talked about in their responses to the original post. And you didn't think to give them any attribution. This isn't an oopsie you can blame on a former employee. Your current employees follow this small artist with a niche style, and then you just coincidentally happen to launch an entire game themed after it? Not buying it. Okay, so you can see, you know, we're really going for it right here, right? We're probably never going to become a Bungie creator after this one, but you know, we're doing right by the community and we're being honest to the situation. So if you don't know what we're talking about here, if you look at the replies from this is the artist here. Someone responded to their original post saying, I see that Joseph Cross, who is the Marathon art game director, he also follows you. Is there any insight you can give about the connection there? The artist says he's followed me for a few years and a few others from Bungie. Never had any communication. So they have been following this artist who's been developing this art style for 10+ years, and they've had absolutely zero communication when clearly they're a fan, right? Clearly they're a fan. They literally took almost the exact assets in some ways and the exact art style and put it into this game. So very, very interesting stuff right there. So I looked at the actual followers that follow them. We have the principal UI visual designer at Marathon the Game. Like I said, the whole art team is following them. The principal UI visual designer. So you're trying to blame this all on a former employee that took these assets and threw them in the game and then they're gone now. But what about the current employees? Okay, because there's many, many of them that are following this individual clearly for their art style. They didn't have very many followers until today. They had, I think, like a very small amount. They've gained a lot in just the last few hours because everyone's supporting them because they're literally unemployed. So it's a really shitty situation for them to have their art taken from them and not be compensated. We also have ACD at Marathon the Game is here as well. We have, obviously I mentioned Joseph Cross, who's the franchise art director for Marathon. We have several others. I mean, you can keep scrolling through here. There's a bunch of people here that work for Bungie and for Marathon that are literally following this individual. So it's not just one individual. It's not just a coincidence. It is very, very strange that your current art team is following this individual that just so happens to be working very hard on this particular art style. And you kind of go through, I mean, this is not Marathon art, by the way. This is their original art. Does this not, what does this look like? Like, let's be real here. Like, this is Marathon. And you're telling me that you lifted and used all of this art style to create this game, and you're blaming it on a former employee without putting any of the blame or any accountability to the current art team that follows them? That's just really fishy, in my opinion. To demonstrate just how bad it is, this is their entire portfolio. Like, look at all these different images. This is Marathon. Like, look at these artists, they small artists, their entire portfolio. The entire game is taken after their art style, from top to bottom almost. And to make matters even worse, the artist actually tweeted saying this: "I hid loss in my design 6 years ago and nobody caught on." So what they did was they actually hid a meme from like a comic book in their art that they created, knowing that companies come along and have very predatory behavior and just steal their work. And so this person replies with a screenshot of this. This is the loss like reference right here. And just as a reference point, this is what the loss meme looks like. You can see the clear similarities. It's got like 4 quadrants to it, and it's got like 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? It's the same thing. They literally put this in their art basically as a watermark or as an indicator so that no one would ever be able to accuse them falsely claiming that someone stole their art, because clearly they did. I mean, literally, like, it would be so random and so obscure for this to not be accurate, right? And now we have some of the world's biggest and most popular content creators weighing in on it. We have Asmongold saying, after looking at the references, it's obvious that it was directly copied. Embarrassing for Bungie. They should give the artist a few $100,000 at least. And honestly, they should just hire the artist and fire whatever clowns they have working there now, which I think we could both agree on this one. And if you've been a subscriber to this channel for years now, you know that this isn't the first time that Bungie has done this. Someone actually made a chart detailing all the times that this has happened. In 2021, we had the Destiny 2 Witch Queen trailer, where they used fan art of Xivu Arath in a trailer without credit. So afterwards, they credited the artist after the mistake was noticed. In 2023, they had a Destiny 2 cutscene where they used near identical fan art in the cutscene, and they apologized and compensated the artist. In 2024, the Destiny 2 Ace of Spades Nerf gun. Okay, they copied the design for the Nerf replica, identical patterns to someone else that had already created this previously, in contact to compensate and credit. And lastly, now we have Marathon environment art. They used 2017 designs in-game without permission, pay, or attribution, which is probably the most egregious offense of art theft in general, right? Some of these you could say weren't as bad by comparison because some of it was updated or uploaded to the Bungie website, etc. But, you know, this one definitely takes the cake. This is probably the worst case of art theft that we've ever seen, at least in regards to Bungie over their lengthy period developing games like Destiny 2 and Marathon. Now, let me know what you think about this situation down in the comment section below. I'm very interested in seeing what the community opinions are of this, and if you want to stay up to date on the entirety of this story as we find any new revelations, again, make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications on. Smash the like button for me. See you in the next one. Later.